Hey everybody, Brian and Leslie Father here with the Unbreakable podcast.
Unbreakable podcast.
It's a thing that you do. So, if you're watching this or listening to this on the day that it comes up on here, we recorded it a little early, just so you know. But if you're doing that, happy Thanksgiving Day,
Yes.
because this is the Thanksgiving Day podcast.
Yes.
And so we actually are going to, we've been talking about functional family, we've been talking about dysfunctional family,
Yep.
we've been talking about uniqueness versus dysfunction,
Mm-hmm.
all along, all these different things that we've been talking about last week. We talked about honor and respect. So we're going to talk about, I gave you 3 guesses. Ready? I'm waiting. No, that's not it. Maybe. You're right. Giving thanks. You're so smart out there. Hey, you. But we're going to talk about giving thanks as a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually going to take and talk about giving thanks compared to being critical.
Right.
Because it's really easy to complain.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to be critical.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about constructive criticism. I'm talking just about complaining and being critical about everything that goes on around you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the way she cooks. I don't like the way he dresses. You know, that's really critical. And complaining is not good. You know, some people would get rich if they had a complaining jar at their home.
Yeah,
It's, you know, we try, and we're guilty. We understand it's so easy to fall into complaint mode
yes.
and critique mode. Oh my word, is that easy? You get someone around you
Yeah.
who starts to complain about the weather they live, what they're driving,
Yeah. Sucked
about
right in.
politics, about Christianity or lack thereof, or and man, you're like, it's just like a vacuum, just pulls you in, and next thing you know, you're right stick in the middle of that conversation, and you're complaining right there with them, instead of being the one who lifts them up and doing that.
Yes.
I used to do a thing with my youth group 30 plus years ago. You know where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
She knows, right? She knows where I'm going. I used to talk to them about this, about being the people who lift someone up and not bring them down,
Right.
and how to do it, and how it's actually much easier to bring someone down than it is to lift them up.
Yes.
It's just easier. And I used to stand on a chair, and I would get the smallest or one of the smallest kids in the room, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pull you up, you pull me down, and don't be wimpy about it. Use all your strength. And I think I won out of 100 times, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
So 97% of the time, it was much easier to drag. And I'm not a small guy.
No.
I'm a stout guy. I'm a strong guy. And if we were face to face, not elevated and unelevated, I would take them down every single time. But I was above them, and they were pulling me, and
gravity was in their favor.
It was totally in their favor, and I would lose almost every single time.
Yep.
So I'm here to tell you that to bring people down, to be critical and complaining,
Yes.
is so easy
Right.
to do.
Right. I know you won't believe this, but in our family, we are highly opinionated people.
No.
Yeah. All of us come with opinions, probably because Brian and I have a lot of opinions, and our children have learned to have opinions also.
Yeah.
They are very vocal in their opinions, but we have had to learn through the years that being opinionated is okay, but it's not okay to be critical.
Right.
It's not okay to take those opinions and drive someone down with those opinions.
Right.
We have learned through the years and worked through the years and still are working to keep our words in a way that is informational only, or is lifting the other person up, encouraging them, saying good things, not negative things.
Right.
We've had to really work and train ourselves to keep positive and thankful words in our vocabulary. The good thing about thankfulness is if you're being thankful, you can't be critical. They don't go together.
No, they don't.
They totally juxtapose each other. And so if you are being thankful, then you're not being critical.
Right.
You mean you cut it off.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do when you feel like critical is coming up is to find something to be thankful for.
You can feel it welling from the depths of your inner being.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, so it's Thanksgiving season, and you're going to be around extended family people, and everybody has
Right.
someone, usually, where they're a complainer or they're negative, and it's really hard to be around that person. So you have to remind yourself, okay, I am going to guard myself from the negativity, and I'm going to find something positive to say. I'm going to be thankful.
Yeah.
I'm going to find an encouragement somewhere in there. And if that just doesn't work when you're around that person, then maybe just steer clear of that person.
Or maybe there's someone in your family that no one actually likes, but they're going to be there anyway because you can't get away from it because they're family. And
sometimes that happens.
And so in the kitchen, away from Uncle Bud, and Aunt Lulu, people were back there like, "Did you see what she wore? Did you know she's dating so and so? Did you hear her way? Oh my gosh! Oh my word! Not only is it criticism, not only is it complaining, but it's gossip on top of it.
Behind their backs.
Yeah, behind their backs while they're in the building.
Yeah.
Woo! This is a trifecta. It's got
Not good.
bet big. You'll make some money on this one on Thanksgiving.
Oh, it's not good.
It's just so simply easy to fall into this trap.
So that makes me think of, James tells us in the Bible that the tongue sets on fire the world. Yeah. And so that's right where you would be, right there. So your tongue getting you in trouble in that way. Yeah. And so one of the things that I like to work with our kids on, and even now we with our adult children,
they're all adult kids now.
They and I are still working on, okay, when this person is around us, then we are going to make sure that we don't join in with negative, but we're going to work together to find positive to say, so we're like making a team effort that we're going to be positive. Sometimes when you're alone with someone who's complaining, the best thing you can just do is don't say anything. Just be quiet. If they're going to complain, just be quiet. Let them get it out of their system, and then you can start again and say something more positive and build someone up.
You can use a trick I learned from my wife's dad way back when in ministry. He was my mentor. He was my spiritual dad, and he would be. And I watched him do it so many times. Someone would be talking to him, and they'd be complaining, griping, gossiping, whatever they're doing, and he would just sit there and look at him and go, I see. I understand. I know. He never agreed with them. They thought he was. He's like, I see. Ah, I know. I understand. And what he understood was they're gossiping.
Yeah.
What he saw was they're complaining.
Mm-hmm.
What he knew was that is critiquing.
Yes.
So there's ways around it without blasting them out of the water.
But what did he have them do? Instead of just listening, then at the end he said, well, I think we should pray for that person.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun watching him do that.
And he would let them start the prayer.
Yeah, every time.
And so when you have to pray for someone, you also kind of cut off that whole critical and gossipy thing, because you can't gossip and be critical in prayer and do it very well. So
I'm a pastor, and any pastor that's ever existed has worked themselves well, has been criticized, critiqued, and attacked. Yeah. We were attacked at a church that we were pastoring at. We were in a meeting. People who were, if they could have taken me out, hung me on the nearest tree, they would have done it. And it was this mad posse. Mm-hmm. And in particular, this one lady who always was having issues with her health, always had like a oxygen tank and yada yada. Mm-hmm. She got all gussied up, prettied herself up, didn't have any oxygen on or anything. She was ready to come. She was mad. Oh, she wanted to take me out and hurt me. And I sat next to her on purpose because I'm like, kill them with kindness. Yeah. And I did that with her because they were all complaining about some things, and they had maybe one or two legitimate concerns. Everything else was just opinion and griping. And I looked at her. I said, before we start this meeting, let's pray. And I looked at her and said, sis, and she was an older lady, but I looked at her and said, why don't you pray? and I just closed my eyes.
Yeah.
Hung my head down, closed my eyes, and waited for her to pray. Because it's hard to stay mad when you're praying.
Yeah.
It's hard to stay critical when you're praying.
Right.
It's hard to complain and pray. I've seen people do it. They're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But it's hard to do it.
Right.
So it's just learning to recognize criticism in your own self.
Yeah.
Recognize complaining in your own self.
Yes.
Recognize gossiping in your own self. I just threw it in as a bonus on this one.
Yeah.
And we were actually going to just talk about criticism, but they all tie together. They're hand in hand.
Yeah.
And so, if you are prone to criticism, if you are prone to complaining, if you are prone to gossip, first, number one, stop it.
Yeah.
Number two, replace it with something that you could say that's positive about the circumstance, the situation, the need, the people, whoever you're talking about, whatever you're talking about, because it's not always about people. Sometimes, people are complaining about their living standard,
right?
About where they live and how bad it is. Or they're complaining about the lack of income that they have, or the car not working right, or the refrigerator acting up, or complaining about anything that's going on in life. And when you have conversations with people, like, well, how's your day? Oh, you don't want to know. And I want to go, you're right, I don't. But I don't.
Not if you're talking to me like that.
I'm always polite.
Yeah.
And then I start telling you all this stuff, and you're like, I didn't want to know that. Don't need to know that. And then we try to take and turn it for good, like Leslie said her dad used to do.
Yep.
Wow, that's really serious. Can I pray with you? Can I pray for you? Or would you like to pray about that? And I'll just agree with you. And so it's turning that thing on a dime and turning it on its head, and it's not easy. It's because the person complaining is enjoying the complaining.
Right.
They want to complain.
Yeah.
There's an old preacher story that I tell from time to time when I preach on this topic. And it's talking about this old hillbilly on the back of his porch. He's sitting there on his chair, and he's whittling a piece of wood with his pocket knife. And his neighbor comes over and sits down, and he grabs out a piece of wood and his knife, and they're both just whittling away on the pieces of wood, and they're going to make something out of them. And all of a sudden, the hound dog sitting off over to the left here, he starts moaning and groaning and howling. And this dog, about every 7 to 15 minutes, he would howl and moan and complain. And this went on for hours. Finally, the neighbor looked at the other, hillbilly to hillbilly, goes, "What is wrong with your dog?" He goes, "Oh, he's laying on a nail." He goes, "What?" He's laying on a nail. Well, why don't you just get up and move? It doesn't hurt bad enough yet. No. That's what complaining is. Yes. You're just sitting on a nail and you're howling and you're complaining. It just doesn't hurt enough yet to change the circumstance.
Right.
It doesn't hurt enough yet to be nice to the person. It doesn't hurt enough yet to change your outlook. But you're going to let everybody else know around you that you're complaining. You're going to howl a little bit. You're going to moan and groan a little bit. You're going to bark a little bit. But you're not going to change what you're supposed to say and do. The Bible, especially in the epistles, is very clear about the mouth. And, she referred to the tongue in James. It talks about the tongue being the rudder of your life.
Yes.
It's the rudder of a ship. So the way you speak directs the way your life's going to go.
Yep.
Have you ever met someone, they're like, my life just never worked out. It's blah, 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 blah. And they just are negative about everything around them. And you're thinking, if you maybe change the way you spoke,
your life might go differently.
It might change. Now, it may not change immediately, but it'll change. And we've been through that because we have to watch ourselves because we get to a place, we're both careful about this. And one of the things that both of us do is like we are mad or upset or we don't like a certain circumstance, a situation, a certain person doing a certain thing. And we get to this place, we actually just shut up. And I've been talking to us, he's like, I can't say anything at this moment. I need a few minutes to get my act together before I say, I'm not going to say something I shouldn't.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say anything.
Until I can say the right thing.
Until I can say the right things.
Yeah.
because I don't want to add to the problem. I don't
Right.
want to make the problem worse than what
Mm-hmm.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're careful on what we say and what we don't say.
Right. Yeah.
And that goes with giving thanks
Mm-hmm.
and criticism. You had
Right.
something to say, I can feel it.
I was just going to say that when the children were growing, when we were teaching them and training them, and they were still in our household, we did devotional things together,
Right.
and we did a study on complaining and being critical and judgmental and all that, because we were trying to develop good character. And so we part of what we determined is that being critical means you're expressing adverse or disapproving comments or judgments. And so we didn't want to be judgmental of situations or people without when there's no merit to it. I
Right.
mean, we don't want to just say bad things about things and people. And the other thing that we learned was that if we've said it once, it's information.
Ha
If we have to say it 2 or 3 times, it
Uh-oh.
becomes complaining. So when one sister doesn't like what the other sister did or said about her outfit or her hair or whatever, they can say informationally, Mom, so and so said this and I didn't really like it. And that's information. But if then they go to all the other siblings and say the same thing, then it becomes complaining.
Yep.
They're complaining about to everyone about the same thing.
Right.
Same thing happens with food. I really hate that meal we had last night. And when they start saying that, they say it to one person, but then they say it to everybody else in the family. And that stirs negative feelings and thoughts towards what we need to eat, because that's what we're having. We're going to eat it. We're going to enjoy our food, and God gifted it to us, and we're going to be blessed and enjoy it. But that's not what they're stirring when they're doing that. They're stirring complaining when they do that. Same thing with people. I really don't like when such and such comes to our house. Okay, that's information. But if they say that and then continue to say more things about that person, that becomes complaining. And so instead of complaining, we had to learn to find better ways to express. We can express in information one time.
Yeah.
But then we need to be satisfied with that information is in the hands of the right person.
Right.
You also don't say the information to the wrong person. Say it to the person that's in charge or the one who can do something about it. Or you have to just keep it to yourself and be satisfied that God will work it out, or that you can let it go, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was something we really worked with our children on, not spreading the complaining around the family, because there were a lot of us, and that would create quite a stir and quite a storm going on if we let that happen.
Yeah.
We have to shut that down, and we still have to do that. We still have to remind ourselves, okay, I may be frustrated about this, but I can't complain about it. One of the things that I do regularly, I read a devotional on YouVersion several years ago, and it was about doing a word fast. And so the words I'm fasting are complaining words.
Yeah.
And so it has a devotional that goes with it, and you can do it for like 10 days or you can do it for like 30 days. I don't know. It was like a extended version of it too. But the basic idea is that each day you are focusing on better words, thankful words, especially, and then you are not using your words to complain. And it's a fast. It's a way to stop doing the complaining. And when you get done, then suddenly the things that people are saying around you, you're like, wow, people are so complainy.
Yeah.
But you can tell it because you get so desensitized to it when you're just living life and you're just going through the motions, and it's so easy to fall into complaining and criticisms and judgments of people. And sometimes God is the only one who has the right to be judging some things. It just is the way it is. You need to let God be God, and you don't need to be in the middle of it. But anyway, it's a good thing to do, to take time to stop complaining, pull your words back, And I usually tell my children when I start one, I'm like, I may not say very much for a couple days because I'm trying to get myself lined up with saying right things, but not saying wrong things.
Right.
And so sometimes that means you're pretty quiet until you get your brain, worked around to find the good things again.
Yeah.
Look for the positive.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot about complaining and criticism. Let's talk a little bit about Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Because Thanksgiving is more than just, man, I love that stuffing. Or the South dressing, sorry.
Yeah.
Or, man, that turkey was good.
Yeah.
It's more than that. It's more than going around the room. What are you thankful for? Oh, I'm just thankful for the fact that I woke up today. Stop it. Be a little bit deeper than that, would you? Now, some people, they should be thankful.
Sometimes they should be thankful.
Some people should. That's okay. But Thanksgiving is a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is.
Thanksgiving is something we should do on a daily basis. It's something we should look for all the time.
Yes.
We should be looking for things to give thanks for.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I got up today, the fact that I'm breathing, the fact that I'm healthy, the fact that my children are doing well, the fact that my grandchildren are doing well, the fact that I have some money in the bank account, the fact that my house is paid for, the fact that you can go on and on and on and find the things, or if your house isn't paid for, the fact that I can afford the mortgage, the fact, the economy's horrible, but that's okay. God's taking care of it. He's bigger than the economy.
Sometimes we're thankful that we have, been able to afford the groceries,
right.
or we've been able to afford, pay our bills. Those are good things to be thankful for too.
It's just, you learn to be thankful in everything, even the small things. And really, that's the lifestyle. When you start learning to be thankful, I mean, I'm going to play around just jokingly here. When you go to the grocery store and it's pushing Thanksgiving time and they got the water chestnuts that you need for the green bean casserole.
He's thankful.
I'm thankful. That's legit. Or they have the right little cheese stuff to make the cheese ball with. I'm very
thankful at that.
And they got the crackers that I like. I'm thankful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's petty. It's selfish. It's surface. But I'm thankful in that little thing.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that my wife loves me and puts up with me. I'm thankful that my children think I'm funny, even when they act like they don't. I'm thankful.
They do. They act like that. But they laugh sometimes.
But I'm thankful for the people around us that help us. Thankful for you listening to the podcast. I'm thankful for a lot of different things because I'm creating a lifestyle of Thanksgiving.
I tell you one of the small things that I thank God for it a lot, and I don't know why it's so important to me, but I guess it is because it comes up a lot. When I get into a hot shower and feel the water running down over me, I'm like, God, whoever created showers, bless them. I mean, it's like the best feeling. I'm so thankful that somebody came up with a way to make a shower and to have it hot water. And I'm always thankful, and during this time especially, but I'm always thankful that we have a home to live in. Because there are so many people who are homeless.
Yeah.
And we see more and more of that in our nation. And I'm so thankful that there's a place where there's a roof over my head. And so just small things, but they come up in my spirit often. Yeah. I know they're not petty, and I know they're not just being, off the cuff, because they come up so often. I know that I truly am thankful for those things because it's just hits me in realization that this is just an awesome thing, a special thing, that God would think enough of me to make sure I have a roof over my head or I have a hot shower to stand in. It's just
absolutely
amazing. God's good, and you need to recognize His goodness.
And that's where Thanksgiving starts. It's in thanking God for whatever.
Yes.
And being genuine with that Thanksgiving. The whole tradition of Thanksgiving started in the country of America by President Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken, and it was, the whole concept was to give thanks to God for the bounty, for the food, for the harvest, for the friendships, for everything He had done for us for that year. And was at the end of the year after harvest and giving Thanksgiving, because we were very much an agricultural country at that point in time. We're not so much anymore. There's people who think that turkeys are made at the grocery store. They're out there.
Sorry, we live in the Midwest. We understand farming.
And so, but the the point of Thanksgiving isn't just being thankful in a one day where you get to watch football all afternoon, which is cool. I'm a football guy, which you get to eat until you're stuffed, which is great. Love to do that. Where you get to, maybe play cards and stuff with your family, and that's cool. That's great. It's fantastic. But thankfulness, being thankful, should be a daily practice in your life. So because criticism certainly is.
Yeah.
Complaining certainly is.
Yeah.
We don't take a day off for those. We keep doing it. And so flip the script. And instead of being a complainer, instead of being critical of everything going on around you, of people, places, and things, why don't you start trying to find things to be thankful for?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's difficult. I mean, we're living in a country that's having major issues right now. We're living in a culture that is off at the hinges. We're living in a time and era that good is being called evil and evil is being called good, which actually as a Christian should excite you, because that means we're getting closer and closer and closer to the return of Christ. Whole nother podcast. But you change the script. I mean, I don't like some of the policies that are being implemented in our country. I don't like watching some of the things that are taking place, but I'm thankful that I'm protected. I'm thankful that Psalm 91 watches over me. I'm thankful that God gives me angels to protect me. I'm thankful in spite of what's going on around me. I'm thankful for peace and joy. I'm thankful for God's comfort. I'm thankful for answering His answer to prayers. I'm thankful for so many things. And you can do that. You can flip the script, and instead of joining in all the craziness, be thankful and be a light to your world.
Something I've done this year, since the beginning of the year, is I've kept a thankfulness journal. And so every day I've written down at least 3 things that I am thankful for. I've missed a few days here and there, but for the most part, every single day I've written down 3 things that I'm thankful for. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's not a great day, and I'm like, what am I thankful for? I really don't know, but I come up with 3 things, right?
I'm so thankful my husband snores all night. Yes.
No, I'm not. But anyway, so you just keep a thankfulness journal. Take a time every day that you sit down and think about what went on in your day today. How did God orchestrate something in your day? What did He do for you? Because He did something. God kept you alive. He kept you in motion today. And so somewhere along the line, He's done something for you. Find it and be thankful for it. Another thing that came to mind as you were talking, and I'm going to tell on him, but when he drives, he tends to have opinions about the drivers.
I talk about the other guys all the time.
Yes. So one day he was driving and doing that. And so I was trying to not participate with his opinionated complaining. But finally I said, honey, why don't you look for a car that you really like and let's talk about it. I mean, I'm trying to divert him to something to be thankful for, something to be positive about, because he was really not happy with the drivers that day. And so I was like, just let's find a car you like and tell me why you like it, But so sometimes you just have to be creative. You have to find a way to
I was
look
thankful for this one car
things.
That wasn't driving stupid like the rest of them. That's what I was thankful for.
Anyway, be creative and find something positive in the middle of what's making you feel crazy or what's making you feel upset or whatever. Find the positive, find the one thing that is shining and trying to get your attention, and that way you can refocus your thoughts into thankfulness, into something good.
It's good.
That's what I have to say.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it right there in that really vulnerable, transparent moment with my wife and
I love you, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all believing that, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you should. She does.
I do love it.
Anyway, that's all we got to say on this topic. Be thankful.
We hope you have a wonderful
Thanksgiving Day. We hope that you enjoyed, depending on what time you're watching this, and you enjoyed the ball games, the food, the family, the friends. We're hoping that you do that, and we hope that you do that on a regular basis.
Yes.
That you enjoy life, and you really thank God for all the blessings and all the bounty that He's brought.
We are all truly blessed. So.
We are. We are. Shameless plug, buy the book, the Family Manual, because Christmas is coming right around the corner.
Yep.
And so get the book. Go to theunbreakablefamily.com and get the book that Leslie wrote. You can go anywhere else that books are available and buy it there as well.
Mm-hmm.
We just appreciate you come to our website and get it.
Yep.
We're thankful for that. So we're thankful that you're listening to us on
Yes.
Thanksgiving Day, that you're watching us on YouTube on Thanksgiving Day. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe,
Yep.
and let people
Hit all the
know,
buttons.
how fun this is and how much we're helping you or not helping you, whatever it is. But with that said, we love you. We're praying for you, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. And we will see you then. God bless for now. Talk to you later. Bye.